Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I am coming at you live. I know this was very much unannounced. I wasn't even sure I was going to be doing this tonight, but we're doing it right now. Usually, you are used to me doing things real late at night. No big deal there. The only problem is that I have to work tomorrow and all throughout the week until Friday. Okay, and I wasn't sure when I was actually going to do all this. I just wasn't sure. Well, I don't know if I am going to do it or when I was going to do it and all this other stuff. I have a lot of things coming up and I need to get them done. Okay, and one of the things I have coming up right now, if you guys don't know yet, I have been shouting it all along. I will be videotaping the Blue Mound Fall Festival Parade this upcoming Saturday. That's right. I will be out there videotaping it. And for those of you who are close enough, you can come see me live. Great. We'll be there. Okay. So if you guys are going to be at the Blue Mound Fall Festival, and that is Blue Mound, Illinois, if you're going to be in Blue Mound, Illinois for the Fall Festival Parade, I will be there. Okay. So I do want to apologize for not giving you guys a lot of notice that I was going to do this today. I wasn't even sure myself I was going to do this, but we're going to do this anyway. So, anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I know I have absolutely nobody watching me at the moment, but I'm sure I'm going to get an audience eventually because some of these people are going, wait a minute, he's on the air. Woo-wee! Yeah, he's on the air again. So, for those of you who don't know, if you're watching me right now, these live streams are never deleted. You can just watch them whenever you like. Also, on these live streams, what I usually do is I actually record videos live so you can actually see what I'm doing. And then those particular videos are popped up later on throughout the week. And then you can actually see the shortened versions so that you don't have to watch the whole live stream just to see what you want to see. Okay. So there will be a video for Survival on a Budget Made Easy. There will also be a video for the Beautiful Golden Hour. And Where the Heck Are They All Beds? You will get a video from me as well. But what else are we going to do today? Well, I got some treats for you here and now. Yes, not only am I going to review the song Me and Mrs. Jones. Okay, we're going to review that one. We're also going to review a song. It's, I'm trying to think of the name of the song. I might just pull it up here. It is... Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be a long one. Hang on just a second. It's Confidence. That's what the song is. It's Confidence. Yes, we're reviewing that. I'm going to do an update video on random access memory. So I want you to be ready for that. And also, I'm going to be... reviewing yet another chapter of Danica McKellar's Math Doesn't Suck book. As you know, we've been going through this quite a bit. But our big thing for today, that's right, we got a big one for today. I'm actually going to review Transformers the movie. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts on Transformers the movie. All right, so a lot of ground to cover here tonight. If you're coming in here, I want you guys to let me know who you are and why. Well, we all know why you're here, but who you are so that I will know who I'm talking to because I won't know anything. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty, shall we? There'll be no particular order in this. Let's see. The first thing I'm going to review is Me and Mrs. Jones. And after I do each part, I'm going to go ahead and turn back onto my live to see if anybody's commented or anything like that. And then I'll just go back to, well, you get the idea. All right. So I'll just be kind of back and forth, back and forth. You can watch me do all this stuff live. You always wanted to see what I do live. Well, here it is. Okay. So after Me and Mrs. Jones, we're going to review a movie. We're going to review a video from Survival on a Budget Made Easy. Let's see what else. We're going to do the random access memory video. Then we're going to do Math Doesn't Suck. And then we're going to do the review of Natania's Confidence. That'll be entertaining. We're going to also review the song Only the Lonely by the Motels and Quarter Flash's Take Me to Heart. And then we're going to check in with Where the Heck Are the Albans? And finally, after that, we are going to go ahead and review Transformers the movie. Now, I had promised some people that I was going to deal with a situation that I ended up with on Facebook. If I have some time at the end of this video, I might go ahead and do that. If not, we'll just save it for the next time. But the big thing I wanted to announce today was, like I said, I will be going to the Blue Mound Fall Festival. You will see that video footage probably Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening because I don't do live on that. So stay tuned for that. I do also encourage everybody to not only buy my Kindle books. I have 5 Kindle books. I kind of promote myself, okay, because no company promotes me. So I just promote myself. I do have 5 Kindle books right now. I will also have, I'm actually working on 2 more. And one of these days they will actually be published. If they're not published in 2022, they'll be published in 2023. Who cares when they get published? Point is, I will finally eventually publish them. How fast they get published is really up to you. The more you watch me, the more you buy my Kindle books, the more likely. There you go. So I do want to, in advance, say welcome to Crazy Josh Cravey, Survival on a Budget Made Easy. And there was another one I wanted to say. Oh, Danny Watts. If you're watching, welcome. Glad you're here. All right. And I have a few others. Please just let me know who you are, whatever. Enjoy the live stream. We're going to go into it right now. Let me go ahead and turn on my camera. Get this show a-going. There we go. Cancel that. I will be using my newer camera for the actual parade, so don't get the wrong idea. I'm going to situate myself just a little bit so that this camera can pick me up. All right. And I'm going to do a little self-promotion because when these people watch these little individual videos instead of the live stream, they don't always get the advertisement. So there you go. All right. Here we go. Oh, boy, that was terrible. Let's try that again. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay. This video response is going to go out to the fans of Billy Paul, and that's because he passed away in 2016, so I really can't directly ask him questions anymore. Okay, but I'm sure his fans will probably want to answer my questions here. And why am I making a video response to Billy Paul? Oh, not really Billy Paul, but his fans. The reason is that he uploaded a music video entitled Me and Mrs. Jones. Now, it didn't start out as a music video. It was actually a song. It was published in 1973. I listened to the song. I've listened to it for many, many years. It's a great song, and I'll explain that just a little bit later. But anyway, I watched the whole music video. I watched I listened to the song. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I decided to ask a few questions about the song itself. And so if anybody wants to answer them, that'd be great. But before I do, I wanted to say that I have actually published 5 Kindle books. If you are interested in my Kindle books, let me know, and I will let me know down here in the comments below, and I will send you hyperlinks to all 5. Okay, and I got 2 more on the way. So if you're really interested in that, just let me know. Okay, so what are my questions? Well, according to the lyrics of the song, now we're just going by what was in the lyrics of the song. Which cafe do you meet at? What is your favorite song? What are her obligations and what are yours? How do you plan to let everyone else know what you have been doing all this time? Feel free to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comments below. And if you happen not to be Billy Paul or one of his fans and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Billy Paul's YouTube channel, watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, and subscribe to his YouTube channel if you'd like. And finally, what did I actually think of the song? Well, Billy Paul has an incredible voice. There's no question about that. I really have to say he really has an incredible voice. Furthermore, the background instruments are melded in such a way it's beautiful. It's absolutely great. It's fantastic. I have to say that I have enjoyed the song for years, as I had said from the beginning of the video. But can I give this song an A+? The answer is no. And I'll tell you why I give this song a B+ instead of an A+. The reason is that the subject matter that was covered in this song, well, it's adultery. That's what it is. And even though I like the song and it was well done, if the subject matter had been anything else, it would have gotten an A+. Really, I would have given it a straight A+, no question asked. But because the subject matter is adultery, I just couldn't quite give it an A+. Other than that, the song is great. And if you guys ever listen to it, that's fine. Now, I did want to cover that Hall & Oates did a version of this, and it was great. And they really did a good job, okay? But there was another, I believe the guy, his name is Michael Bublé. He did a version of this, and it was horrible. Why was it horrible? One, because it was out of key. Number two, he had an extra lyric to it, okay? Instead of saying, we've got a thing going on, type thing, he had the word that. You don't add an extra lyric to a very classic song. You just don't. What are you going to do next? Repaint the Sistine Chapel because you don't like how Michelangelo painted it? Just don't do that. That's ridiculous. So that's why I was on Michael Bublé. He just, I'm sorry. No, just no. Anyway, that's what I think of the song. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like to have you stay tuned. Well, still nobody in here. Okay, that's fine. We'll just keep on going anyway. This video response is going to go out to Survival on a Budget Made Easy, and that's because you uploaded a video entitled Storm at Hornaday, and if I mispronounce that, I apologize in advance. It's Hornady or Hornad, I don't know. It's a park in Petersburg, Pennsylvania, Petersburg, Indiana. Boy, you can tell. Let me. Okay, that was terrible. What? Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'm glad I decided to record that video again. The video, it just screwed up. We've got some people in our live stream right now. Welcome to my live stream. Let me know who you are. I'm going to go ahead and try once again to do this review for Survival on a Budget Made Easy. All righty, here we go again. This video response is going to go out to Survival on a Budget Made Easy, and that's because you uploaded a video entitled Storm at Hornady or Hornaday. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Please let me know down here in the comments below how to do that or make a video about it. That's fine. But it's some kind of a park in Petersburg, Indiana. Okay. And I watched your whole video, and I decided to ask you a few questions about your video. I hope you will leave the answers in the comments below. Anyway, how large is the park? Near the beginning of the video, I saw a tree that appeared to have been struck by lightning. How was the tree damaged, and what species of tree was it? Was any of the playground equipment damaged? Near the 2-minute mark of your video, I saw a swing that was damaged. What kind of wood was it made out of? How many days was the park closed after the storm? Were any of the picnic tables damaged? I saw a lake near the middle of your video. Are there any fish in that lake? Was any wildlife harmed in the park during the storm? I have to admit that the ducks in that park are very, very brave to walk in front of your car. I did see some flagpoles in your video. Were there any flags attached to the flagpoles during the storm? And if so, were they damaged? I saw some horse stables near the end of your video. I hope no horses were in the stables during the storm. Feel free, like I said, to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comments below. If you happen not to be Survival on a Budget Made Easy and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Survival on a Budget Made Easy's YouTube channel, rate his videos, comment on his videos, and watch his videos. Subscribe to his channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right. Now, I wanted to also let you know that I actually have Kindle books, and I have 5 of them so far. If you are interested in any of those Kindle books, let me know in the comments below, and I'll send you a link to all of them, whichever ones you want. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Whew. Well, we got somebody in here, but we had somebody in here. Guess they're gone. Oh, well. Good afternoon, everyone. It is once again Ted, the Speed Learner, and today I'm going to do an updated random access memory video. Okay, a long time ago, about 13 years ago, I did a video about random access memory, and I'm going to update you guys on random access memory. Now, this is not to be confused with read-only memory, which was used back in the day to help boot up your computer. It was actually, the information was actually etched onto the chip, so that when it activated, that would be the first thing that would pop up on your screen, so that the computer could actually interface with all of its various components and that kind of stuff. Okay, that was, and I will give an updated video about read-only memory on a future date, but I'm not going to cover it right now. Today's video is about random access memory. And before I go ahead and cover this, I wanted to let you know that I have 5 Kindle books. And if you're interested in buying any of them, let me know down here in the comments below, and I'll send you links to those. Okay, so let's briefly talk about random access memory. This was a big thing back when I was young. Computers still have random access memory today. But the thing about random access memory is that when a computer is turned off, everything stored in that random access memory just disappears. It's not like a hard drive or a floppy drive or, these little flash cards or thumb drives, that kind of stuff, where stuff is stored for a lot longer. The thing is that in those days, you turned off the random access memory. That was it. So you had to physically remember. Of course, back in those days, they didn't exactly have hard drives. You got to keep in mind, I grew up in the latter part of the 1970s and the early 1980s. So when we finally got our computers, we had to literally remember, if we wanted that information stored, we had to actually store it on the disk before we turned off the computer. Because if we didn't, it was gone. Okay, that's one thing about, that's why it's called, that's part of the reason why it's called random access memory. The other reason why it's called random access memory is because, unlike read-only memory, okay, or say a hard drive or something like that, when you have a hard drive or cassette tapes or anything of that kind of media, what happens is you have to go all the way through the hard drive to find the information. In other words, information is stored in a specific spot on a hard drive. or on a disk. Okay. And you have to go through the whole disk to find that information. You have to literally search for it. With random access memory, it's set up in such a way that you can find the information rather easily. You don't have to go through the whole hard drive or the whole disk or anything like that. You don't have to do that. Okay. All right. So, random access memory, or RAM, is basically short-term memory. Okay. And it, like I said, it stores that information until your computer shuts down. Then that information is erased. RAM memory chips are really integrated circuit boards. That's what they are. These integrated circuit boards contain thousands of transistors and capacitors. The capacitors store something called electrons. And this is where we get into a discussion of bit and byte. Okay. So what happens is these capacitors, they store electrons. And if there are electrons in the capacitor, that makes up a bit. Okay. It's sort of like an on-off switch. When you turn that switch on, then you have electricity present. If you turn it off, you don't have any electricity present. That's the way it works. Okay. And of course, nowadays, they don't just have thousands of capacitors on the chips. They have millions. And the way that actually works is that these capacitors, in their own way, are etched onto the integrated circuit board. Okay. In the old days, there was actually a physical capacitor. You attached it with a soldering iron. Nowadays, those capacitors are so tiny that they can literally be etched on the circuit board. That's how that works. Okay. So if the electrons are stored inside the capacitor, we know that there is 1 bit stored in the capacitor. These capacitors are paired with transistors. Why? Because transistors, they sort of like, you remember those old time castles where you would have armed soldiers standing at the gates? Well, same basic principle. They allow the CPU to see the information on the capacitor. Okay, so the CPU actually detects whether there are electrons on the capacitor or not. And this is how it reads random access, how it reads bits and bytes. Okay. And if the CPU decides to delete the information on the random access memory, it tells the transistor, delete it, release the electrons from the capacitor. Okay. Now, the CPU can actually tell the transistor to actually put electrons on the capacitor, or the CPU can tell the transistor to take electrons away from the capacitor. Okay, that's how that works. And that is basically how random access memory works. Now, I could go into greater detail about that, and I will in a future video. But in the meantime, now you have a basic understanding of how random access memory works. And we will go into further details on this, like I said, in a future video. I want to thank you for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay, we got one person in our, well, we had one person in our live stream. They're gone too. Okay, well, sometimes we have people in here, we don't other times. Okay. All right, here we go. Another video. Ready? I'm now going to continue my review. Still not ready. I'm now going to continue my review of Danica McKellar's book, Math Doesn't Suck. In this particular chapter, I have to start by saying I agree with Danica McKellar that math word problems are awful. They're awful, but they're not. That was terrible. I'm now going to continue my review of Danica McKellar's Math Doesn't Suck book with this. I honestly agree with Danica McKellar that math word problems are often difficult to translate. No question about that. Have you ever tried to translate an ACT math problem? Or have you ever struggled with the proofs in Euclid's Elements? We know we have. Okay. So how does a person solve this reading problem? Well, first of all, I would suggest learning a much larger vocabulary, because if you don't, you won't even be able to read the word problem, much less try to figure it out. Okay. Danica McKellar makes a brief reference to reading hidden meanings out of text messages. This part's going to become very interesting. It's a cute idea to think about, but I believe that this way of thinking will not be very useful in solving math word problems. Great way to introduce the chapter, but yeah, this is not going to help with word problems, I assure you. But let's examine what Danica McKellar states in her book. The first thing that she has you envision is some kind of a guy texting a female. Okay, we have some dude texting a young lady. Okay, and in the text, this guy says, hey, I'm kind of interested in what you're doing right at the moment. Maybe it's doing origami, or maybe she's planting flowers, whatever. It doesn't matter. He has actually now said in his text that he's interested in what she's doing. Okay. So at this point, this particular female may end up presuming that this guy really is more interested in her than he is actually interested in what she is doing, which I can get. I truly comprehend that. That could happen. Okay, I get it, especially if she finds this guy physically attractive. Okay, fine, great, fantastic. But here's the problem with the book. Danica McKellar actually admits that it may be possible that the guy is just interested in her activity rather than in her. She makes that concession in the book, but she never addresses what to do about that. She never says, hey, when you have a situation like that where you think this guy might be interested in you, but you're not entirely sure, to take the following steps to try to figure out whether he's really interested in you or in the activity you're doing. I mean, here you could be just riding around a motorcycle. Maybe he's interested in motorcycles and he sees yours. He sees that it's a rather unique motorcycle, and there you go. It may not be that he's particularly interested in you. Maybe he's just been interested in the motorcycle. What happens then? How do you know for sure if he's interested in you or what you're doing? She never addresses this. And I think it's not in the book. You can go check it out for yourself. She makes no mention of this in her book at all. And I'm sitting here going, maybe you should strike up a big time conversation with the guy and find out what his true interests are. Because if you don't, you could be very badly disappointed. I mean, this could crush some girl's spirit. Okay? Especially when she's dealing with very young ladies here. You get the picture? Okay. So, I mean, think about that for a second. Think about how awkward the situation would be if she honestly thought that this guy was interested in her, and it turns out, because of the conversation, that he's just interested in whatever she's doing and not interested in her at all. It could make for a pretty awkward conversation. So, yeah, that topic, if you're going to cover something like this, you need to cover both ends of the spectrum. And I don't think that Danica McKellar did a very good job of doing that in her book. So, all right. So, like I said, I think all young ladies should develop good communication skills so that they can find out what this guy is thinking. Is he interested in you, or is he interested in what you're doing? Okay. That way you don't build up your hopes really, really too high, because I tell you what, you build your hopes that high and you find out this guy is interested in what you're doing and not really interested in you, your hopes could be dashed pretty quick. So just be careful. Possessing a great vocabulary is one large key in solving math word problems. This is why I teach the language of Italian on my YouTube channel. As you may or may not have guessed, 60% of your language comes from the language of Latin. And the language of Latin was created and used in a nation in the nation of Italy approximately 2,000 years ago. It's easier to learn Latin if you have learned the Italian language first, because you got the basic grammar structure, so on and so forth. And if you learn Latin, you will be able to store a dictionary in your head. This means you will struggle less with math word problems. That's just a given. Danica McKellar continues her presentation by discussing mathematical symbols. I shall now take a moment to discuss the origins of some of these math symbols, which you will not find in her book. So let's start with what people would call the plus symbol. Okay. Now, this plus symbol originated as a form of the Latin word et. Okay. Now, if you are familiar with Latin at all, you know that the word et is actually the conjunction and. Okay. So what about the equal symbol? Well, Mr. Robert Record, yeah, that's his name, Mr. Robert Record, created the equal symbol because he was writing a book entitled Whetstone of White. I would say that's Whetstone of White. If you need the name of the book, let me know, and I'll put it up here in the description. Okay. The origin of the minus symbol is somewhat of a mystery. We are not entirely sure where this thing came from. Some people have suggested that its origins can be traced back to hieroglyphics. The multiplication symbol has a very interesting history on its own. It was designed by a guy by the name of William Oughtred to represent the religious symbol of the crucifix. Okay. Now, if you want more history on that, let me know, and I'll get that to you. The division symbol, most people are familiar with, okay, the division symbol that people like me would be more familiar with, is supposed to be called the obolus. And if I got that wrong, please just let me know, and I'll correct it. I'm not very good at these kind of pronunciations, okay? Just because I can't pronounce things correctly doesn't necessarily mean I don't know what I'm talking about. The first use of this particular symbol can be found in a book entitled Techne Algebra, which was written by a name by Johann Heinrich. Yes, that's a German name. At least I was able to pronounce the name. Of course, I could give you more math symbol origins, but I think, let me try that again. Of course, I could give you more math symbol origins, but think about how long this video presentation would become if I did. Honestly, I think anyone who reads Danica McKellar's Math Doesn't Suck book would be very interested in this mathematical history. But at this point, I digress. She wrote the book, I didn't. Okay. Danica McKellar is also correct in stating that many countries around the world use the same math symbols that we use here in the United States, despite the fact that very few countries in this world fluently speak English as their primary verbal language. That's true. However, I have to disagree with Danica. Boy, I'm really just screwing this up, aren't I? Well, let's trudge on, shall we? However, I have to disagree with Danica McKellar when she states that in certain circumstances, the word of in a math problem represents multiplication. Now, allow me to explain this, okay? What if I asked you the following math problem, okay? What if I said, what is What is 1/3 of 9? What if I gave you that? Now, in her book, she replaces the 1/3 with the numerical equivalent, which would be 1/3. She also replaces the 9 with a physical 9. But I'm not going to do that here because this is exactly what you should be doing. And you should be able to read this in English language. That's what you should be doing. And for her to do that, I'm like, really? Uh-huh. Yeah. I'm sorry, I disagree with that totally and completely. If you were in my math class, this is how you get it. And you would learn this. Okay? So if you're talking word problems, that's how a word problem is supposed to be presented, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Now, Danica McKellar is correct in stating that you could use an alternative method to okay. Skip that. Hang on. Let's go back a minute. What is this math problem actually asking you to do? Well, it's asking you to divide the number 9 into 3 equal parts. That's exactly what they're doing. They're saying, can you divide this number 9 into 3 equal parts? That's exactly what they're doing. So that is more of a division problem than an actual multiplication problem. So you could actually place the number 9 in the numerator of a fraction. You could do that. And then you could place the number 3 as the denominator of the fraction. Okay? You reduce the fraction, and you have 3/1, or the answer of 3. Okay? So, where do I actually agree with Danica McKellar? Despite the fact that this actually is more like a division problem than a multiplication problem, you can actually use multiplication to solve this. Okay. We could have multiplied the number 9 by 1/3. We could have done that. Okay. And we would have still gotten our answer, we still could have got the answer of 3. But what I'm trying to say here is that I want you to visualize what you're doing. You're actually dividing that 9 into 3 equal parts. That's what you're doing. And if you're not visualizing it this way, it might confuse you in the end. You're sitting there going, well, that's a multiplication problem. And the teacher's saying, no, that's really a division problem. Really. Okay. Now, I will be fair to Danica McKellar and say that she is right in stating that if you're using the word of, which is right here, and the word of is surrounded by numbers, this is a number 1/3, this is a number 9, then you could treat it like a multiplication problem or a division problem. Okay? You could either do it my way as a division problem or her way as a multiplication problem. Doesn't matter either way. However, if there is an extra word attached to that of, you may have a completely different math problem. Now, let us suppose that I was going to sell you a fancy shirt. And I tell you that the original price of the shirt is $100. Okay. Now, when I tell you that the original price of the shirt is $100, the first thing you're going to see in your head is $100. Then I'm telling you that I'm going to remove 60% from that price. Ooh. So what I'm asking you to do is to figure out what that 60% of that price would be, and then to figure out what you're actually going to pay for that shirt. Because obviously you're not going to pay $100 anymore. If you're removing 60% of that price, you're only going to pay 40% of the item. Okay. So you're probably going to pay about $40. Okay. So When you see the combination of the words off and of, if you see the combination of the words off and of, that's more likely going to be a subtraction problem than a multiplication or division problem. Okay, so you got to watch that. It's a little tricky. And Danica McKellar, to be fair, mentioned this in her book as well. Okay. All right. So the next thing Danica McKellar does is she reminds everyone that you can convert numbers that are presented as percents into fractions before you use them in a math problem. She's absolutely right. So if I asked you to find 60% of the number 20, so I asked you to find 60% of $20 bill, of a $20 bill, well, you could actually convert this 60% into 3/5. And then you'd multiply that by the $20 bill. And then you would get the answer. Or, like I said originally, I mean, that's Danica McKellar's way, but you could do it my way. You could actually divide 20 by 0.6 and just reduce the fraction. Okay. At this point, Danica McKellar offers some additional translations that she thinks will help her students as she tries to translate some other words. I agree with many of these translations. They include the words some, more or less than, and difference. I will even go as far as to say that the word is and are should indicate to you the word equals when it comes to math problems. That's true. Now, it is 100% true to say that obviously the word quotient, as I have covered in a previous video, always indicates some kind of a division problem. But what about the words per and the letter A? She doesn't elaborate on this point in this chapter, so I guess we will have to wait and see what she means by the words per and A. We'll find out in a future video. Now, I have to admit again that Danica McKellar is correct in saying that various parts inside a computer communicate in the language of mathematics. And this is where you get your bits, your bytes, the whole 9 yards. I just did a video about random access memory, which should give you some clue as to how computers actually communicate. They communicate in bits and they communicate in bytes. That's all true. Okay. Of course, she doesn't elaborate on any of this. The reason for this has to do with binary and electrons that are stored inside capacitors on computer integrated circuit boards. Okay, that is the language of computers. That literally is. I'm sorry that was never mentioned in her book, but it isn't. Go ahead, try to find it. It's not there. It's for the same reason that computers are able to communicate with each other, because the computers actually communicate in bits and bytes, or literally electricity stored in capacitors. Get it? Okay. It would have been nice if she had stated that in her book, but she didn't. It'd been much more fascinating. But I would also have to say that mathematics is only a secret code until you learn how it actually works. And that's why people like me are around to explain it to you. And it's not terribly difficult to learn this code. You just have to have a proper guide. And I like being your guide since you're here. Thanks to Harry Lorraine, you can retain much of this mathematical code even if you don't use it regularly. She's saying, well, if you don't use it all the time, you'll forget. Well, maybe, maybe not. If you store it the Harry Lorraine way, you probably won't. You might forget some of it, but most of it will come back real quick. So once again, I encourage everyone to learn Harry Lorraine's memory techniques, and that's pretty much the end of this video. I will continue my review of Danica McKellar's Math Doesn't Suck book in a future video. So I'd like for you Before I go, I wanted to tell you that I've actually written 5 Kindle books of my own. If you want to read them, let me know. I will leave. You just leave me a comment below, and I'll leave you a link so you can buy my Kindle books. Okay? I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay, still nobody today. Okay. Well, it's going to get more interesting. This video response is going to go out to Natania, and that's because you uploaded a music video entitled Confidence. I watched your music video, I listened to the whole song, and I have some questions about your song. Okay? All right. Now, before I start, I have written 5 Kindle books of my own, and if anybody's interested in buying them, leave me a comment down here in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to send you links so you can buy those books. All right, let's just get started, shall we? According to the lyrics, now I'm just going to go based on what the lyrics actually say. All right. Why are all the eyes on this particular person you mentioned? What is this person doing that has attracted the attention of everyone in the room? What do you think this person actually deserves? Why does everyone think you have confidence? Why do they think you have confidence? Okay. What is being bought and sold here? Why do you think every color looks good on you? And what are you planning to do? Feel free to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comments below. And before I go on here, you guys probably want to know what I think of this song. Well, honestly, it does have musical instruments, to be sure, but they're not well put together. These lyrics are very confusing. You have absolutely no idea what this person is talking about. And you're sitting there scratching your head going, what the heck is this song supposed to be all about anyway? Is somebody getting jilted here or what? You don't know. It's not sung very well. And honestly, this is one of the trashiest songs I've ever. I will say it's a little better than Capone's Oh No. I will give you that. Capone's Oh No was a lot worse than this. And I'll give you that. But this is not a terribly great song. I will give it a D-. I'm almost on the borderline giving it an F, but I will say the lyrics are decently written. And there is a lot of musical company to the song, which I can't say for Capone. I can't say for Tay Money. And there's some others that I can't say that for, but this one I can. But in the end, not a great song. I'm sorry. It sucks. So that's what I think of it. But if you happen not to be Natania and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Natania's YouTube channel, watch her videos, rate her videos, comment on her videos, subscribe to her channel if you like, and more importantly, tell them that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. How are we doing so far? Almost 50 minutes of watch time here. Okay. Of course, the best is yet to come. This video response is going to go out to the motels, and that's because you uploaded a music video entitled Only the Lonely. I have heard your song many, many times, and I have watched the music video as well. And I can tell you this is one of the best songs I've ever heard, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. But first, before I go any further, I'd like to let you know that I have written 5 Kindle books of my own. You are more than welcome to let me know which Kindle books you're interested in. I will send you links to them. I'm working on 2 more even as we speak. And soon I'll let you know about those as well. In the meantime, like I said, I've watched the video. I have actually listened to the song. And I have a few questions about your lyrics. All right, now I'm going to go strictly by what's in the lyrics. Okay. Where were you walking? What would you consider a stylish smile? What is the right way to kiss according to you? Couldn't couldn't each of you determine what the other one was drinking just by looking at the beverages? I mean, you could just look what was inside the cup, maybe, or you just smell what was inside the cups. You could have then told what was in the cups. Okay. There are lots of things people can do without your presence. And why do you feel so lonely? And why don't you remember the time that you were together with your friend? And how can you feel good about something if you don't remember what that something is? Feel free to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comments below. Now, as I promised, I would tell you exactly what I think of the song. This song is well done. It slowly moves up to where it needs to go. It has a lot of good background vocals. The lyrics make sense. It's just a really good song. I would say it's more of a nighttime song. Maybe you went to a party and you just kind of need a song to come down off of, that kind of thing. This is the perfect one. So I'm going to give this song a solid A. It's not exactly an A plus because it's not like super flashy, but it is memorable and people enjoy it. And it's something that you would want to listen to over and over again. That's what I think of this song. All right. If you are not the Motels and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to the Motels YouTube channel, watch their videos, rate their videos, comment on their videos, subscribe to their channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell them that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in future videos, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Oh, still nobody. Okay. This video response is going to go out to Quarter Flash, and that is because you uploaded a music video entitled Take Me to Heart. I have heard this song so many times. I've actually watched the music video, and personally, I think it's a great song, but I will tell you why a little bit later in the video. But before I do, I'd like to tell you that I have written 5 Kindle books, and any of you guys that would like those Kindle books, let me know in the comments below, and I'll send you links to all of them. So let me know. Okay, now, again, I've watched the music video, I've listened to the song many times, and I have a few questions about the lyrics. Okay, so let's go with just what the lyrics say. Why won't he forget your eyes? Why do you think he will see you wherever he goes? Are you some kind of a disc jockey or a professional musician? How do you know that he is in his car? You watching him all the time? What miracle do you promise him? Why do you think that someday he will be yours? Why do you think he has sleeping problems? What motion do you think would make him surrender to you? All right. Feel free to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comments below. And now I will tell you what I think of the song. The saxophone is wonderful. I think the lead on Quarter Flash, she does a really good job with the saxophone. She's a really great singer. I think that whole band is wonderful. It has great musical accompaniment. The sounds blend in perfectly. And the lyrics make sense. Okay, they're a little bit of a tease, but they really do make sense. And you want to know what's going on. That's the whole thing. You take a sincere interest in what's going on in the song. But you can't say about another one I just reviewed today called Natania's Confidence. I'm not the slightest bit interested in what's going on over there. But this, I am. It has a good hook that brings you straight into the song. It's memorable. You want to listen to it over and over again. It's just well blended. So anyway, if you are not Quarter Flash and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Quarter Flash's YouTube channel. Watch their videos, rate their videos, comment on their videos, subscribe to their channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell them that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Still nobody, okay. This video response is going to go out to the beautiful Golden Hour, and that's because you uploaded boy, that was terrible. This video response is going to go out to the beautiful golden hour, and that's because you uploaded a video entitled Very Beautiful Niagara Falls at Night. I watched your whole video, and I decided to ask you a few questions about your video. Was the water green because of artificial lighting, or was that just some natural effect? Did you see any aquatic life after you recorded this video? Were you able to go to the Canadian side of Niagara Falls? Was there a huge crowd at Niagara Falls as you were videotaping? Did you or your camera get wet as you were videotaping this footage? Did you see any interesting historical landmarks after you recorded this video? Feel free to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comments below. And if you happen not to be the beautiful golden hour and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to the beautiful golden hour's YouTube channel, watch her videos, rate her videos, comment on her videos, subscribe to her channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell her that the speed learner sent you. By the way, I have actually published 5 Kindle books, and if anybody's interested in that, let me know in the comments below, and I'll send you links to the Kindle books. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. This video response is going to go out to Where the Heck Are the Albans? And that is because you uploaded a video entitled A Tornado at Wrigley Field. I watched your video and I have a few questions about your video. But before I get into this, I'd like to tell you guys that I have actually published 5 Kindle books. And if you are interested in any of them, let me know in the comments below and I will send you links to those Kindle books. All right, let's just go through this real quick. Where did you purchase the Cowboy hats? I would assume they purchased them at Wrigley Field. I wasn't 100% sure, but maybe you purchased them somewhere else. I just don't know. What is the name of the new bar and grill that was being constructed? How expensive were your refreshments? I know that some of these venues have very expensive refreshments. Did you experience any hail during or after the storm? How long did it take them to remove the tarp off the field? And how do you feel about Cracker Jacks not placing toys in their boxes anymore? I feel just awful that you had to leave the game early. I can understand why, but I feel awful that you did. But I do appreciate you showing us the score of the game on the video screen just before the video ended. And I'm glad you had such a wonderful time. All right. Feel free to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comments below. And if you happen not to be the Where the Heck Are the Albans and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Where the Heck Are the Albans YouTube channel, watch their videos, rate their videos, comment on their videos, subscribe to their channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell them that the speed learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. It has been an hour now and still nobody on the air. All right. Before we go into the main course of tonight, I am going to take a brief break. So hang on for about 90 seconds and I'll be right back and we will review Transformers the movie. You're going to love this. All right. Yes, I'm coming back. And now for the icing on the cake. Let me get something to drink here because we're going to need it. Okay, this is going to be the longest video of them all. You ready for this? In this video, I'm going to review the movie Transformers the movie. This is the one that came out in 1986 that caused such a controversy, and I think you all know why. If you've ever watched the movie or you know anything about the movie, you know why this created such a controversy. My gosh. There was no more Megatron. There was no more Optimus Prime. There was no more Prowl. No more Ratchet. No more Wheeljack. Really? Yeah. This did not go over with a lot of people, especially me. Okay. No more Starscream either. Give me a break. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Start up the movie. Okay. Now, in the old days, you'd pop your DVD in there. Nowadays, you could probably watch it off of Vudu or Amazon or whatever. Now, before I get into this, I wanted to let you guys know that I published 5 Kindle books. If you're interested in any of them, let me know. Leave me a comment down here below, and I will actually send you a link to those books. Okay? All right. Let's begin. We're going to start up the movie and have me on at the same time so you can hear and see what I'm talking about. All right? At the beginning of the movie, we don't know where we are. We're just out in the middle of nowhere. Really? Okay. Now, why did the sun, okay, they had this sun in the beginning of the movie. Why didn't it somehow just incinerate Unicron? What, do you have some special coating on his body or something that kept him from being burned up in the sun? Love to know that. We see an unknown planet at the beginning of this movie with robot kids, robot families, whole 9 yards. We know absolutely nothing about these people. Why not? I mean, couldn't they give us a little dialogue on this? Really? Now, this one robot on this unknown planet starts pouring this liquid. We have no idea what that liquid is. Nobody tells us. Okay? Okay, now think about this for a second. Here we are on Earth, and we have things like the Hubble telescope and other telescopes that can pick up things extremely far away. And you're telling me that no one person on this remote planet, wherever it was, didn't pick up on Unicron coming long before it got there? Really? I don't believe that. Now, the robots, it makes it worse that these robots on this unknown planet, they've known about Unicron for some time. And they had never built up any planetary defenses or anything to stop him? Really? Especially then they couldn't detect him so far away? At least give it a try. Or how about a plan for evacuation? No plan there. Right. Okay. Now you're telling me that Optimus Prime and Megatron have been on Cybertron for a long, long time. They never heard of Unicron. They didn't know where he was. Nothing. Really? I'm not buying that at all. And the Decepticons actually beat the Autobots? Really? I love that. And no Autobot detected the arrival of Laserbeak. None. Right. I don't believe that. And Optimus Prime didn't hide the shuttle somewhere, had it like a canopy on it or something until it was right time to launch the dang thing. Huh. Oh, hey, look, Megatron, we got a shuttle over here. Just go ahead and blow it up. Oh. And why does Megatron continue to tolerate Starscream? Really? And notice that Megatron doesn't need a shuttle to travel through space. Okay? Matter of fact, it doesn't look like any of the Decepticons really need a shuttle to travel through space at all. Now, this becomes important later in the video. Trust me. And there are no Decepticon detection systems on that shuttle. They didn't know these guys were coming until they were already there. Right. I'm not buying that either. And I have to admit, the Autobots are pretty terrible shots. They kind of remind me of the Stormtroopers in Star Wars A New Hope. And the shuttle has gravity. I love that. And no Autobot sentry, okay? You're telling me they didn't have like a couple guards on the ship just in case the Decepticons arrived to attack them first? Right. And nobody even attempted to communicate with the shuttle long before it ever reached Earth. They could have picked that thing up a long time in the past. And why did the Autobots need energy from Earth? Couldn't they just draw it from a nearby sun or, gravity winds or anything other than Earth? Why didn't Hot Rod contact Cup before he fired on the shuttle? He should have said, hey, Cup, look at this, and then fired. And Hot Rod, like every other Autobot, apparently has bad aim. Really? And Hot Rod just stands there as Blitzwing is directly aiming at him. Right. And just think of how long it took Cup to get over to Blitzwing and to try to stop him from aiming at Hot Rod. Really? Shoot. By the time Cup got there, Blitzwing could have just taken out Hot Rod. Okay. And the Insecticon, now keep in mind, I know about the toys, okay? The Insecticon is so big that it knocked over Blitzwing? Really? I don't think so. And, hey, we're already at the Autobots having bad aim. Why don't we just have the Decepticons have just as bad aim as the Autobots? Really? It seems that only Optimus Prime has good aim. The rest of these guys, they're almost a joke. Okay, and you're telling me the Soundwave didn't have some device in his whatever that could have jammed the signal of the Autobots before he sent the cassette tapes up there to stop them? Right, I don't believe that. And you're telling me that that Optimus Prime did not leave he didn't leave the Dinobots on Earth to protect Autobot City from the Decepticons. That's amazing. And Optimus Prime is driving directly towards the Decepticons, and every single one of them missed Optimus Prime. They must be terrible shots. What? Megatron's the only one that has a good aim? That's terrible. Oh, and Soundwave, he's still going even after he's directly shot by Optimus Prime. I like that. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, and Optimus Prime has such confidence that here's Megatron down for the count, and he just strolls right over to his weapon. Really? Sorry. And Megatron needed some kind of offensive instrument? Really? Megatron was an offensive instrument. And the Autobots still have ammunition. I think they'd all run out of energon by that point. And how did Unicron, so far away, how was he able to see what had happened to Optimus Prime? Right. Oh, and let's not forget all those Autobots that are still on the 2 moons of Cybertron. They didn't detect Unicron either, not until it was too late. I don't believe that for a second. Now think about that. Daniel's in his exosuit, and you're telling me that Daniel did not sustain a single injury when he transformed that exosuit. Huh, right. And none of the Autobots run out of energy. None of them do. Optimus Prime. Oh, Optimus Prime is finished off. And now Galvatron is even more powerful than Megatron was, and he can't finish off Ultra Magnus. Right. Oh, now here's Unicron. He grabs Galvatron, throws him in his mouth, and as Galvatron is falling, the Matrix of leadership doesn't fly off and go in some different direction. I don't believe that for a second. And then, what are the odds the hot rod inside this massive Unicron was able to finally find Galvatron? Odds aren't too good. Oh, and I forgot, Unicron's a poor shot too. Who knew? And there's water inside Unicron? Right. And Unicron made Galvatron so much more powerful than ever before, but yet Unicron, after doing this for Galvatron, Galvatron could not defeat Hot Rod. Right. And Unicron just suddenly removes his leg. No explanation why. Oh, and then Spike and Daniel did not transform themselves in their exosuits when they were trying to leave Unicron. Why? And what was Unicron's destiny? That's never told to us. Now, I grant you that Unicron failed in completely destroying Cybertron. But did he throw it out of orbit or something? You go in with your hand like this, you're going to throw off the orbit of a planet. I tell you that. All right. If any of you guys have some interesting answers to any of these questions, please leave them down here in the comments below. And I will tell you more in a future video, so I would like for you to stay tuned. Well, we got one person on our live stream. Whoever you are, let me know who you are. I'd love to hear from you. Oh, they're gone too. Oh, well. Well, you saw all the stuff. So, well, I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. Or if you have not tuned in throughout this whole live stream, which a lot of people didn't, if you tune in at a later time, please enjoy the presentation. I guess I do have a little bit of time left. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. If you guys will bear with me for just a minute, I'm going to try to pull up this conversation. All right. Oops. I want to thank you if you're still around. I want to thank you very much for sticking around because I want to go through this. All right. Now, I had seen a post on Facebook, and basically it goes like this. Jesus died for me. That's manipulative. So I decided to reply to this. And I said, Jesus died because we couldn't pay for our sin debt to God. God honored his sacrifice by bringing Jesus back to life and transforming his body so it couldn't be corrupted by sin anymore. One day, all Christians will have bodies that function the same way as the body of Jesus. That's the gospel message. Now, you would think that, who cares? I mean, it's just, whatever. But no, of course, we get a lot of this, okay? So, somebody by the name of Christopher McCloy actually wrote to me back, and he says, the Bible is a book of metaphors with guiding ideology. Even if it isn't, who are you as a human to try to interpret the desires of this great being? Also, there are hundreds of well-documented historians in the time of Jesus, and wouldn't you know, it's not one of them ever wrote anything about a man named Jesus going around doing miracles. At this point, we started a very long conversation. I said, so says many memes on the internet. The Bible is the only book that asks its readers to verify its information. And there were responses to this, but apparently a lot of them got deleted. I actually said, why would God inspire human beings to write a book that would make it impossible to comprehend God? And then I said, there are lots of things in history that weren't well documented. And I cited the example of the city of Pompeii. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, that the city of Pompeii is only documented in one letter written by somebody by the name of Pliny the Younger? If we did not have that letter, we would not know much about Pompeii. Oh, sure, we would have dug up the city eventually, but we wouldn't. Maybe we wouldn't even know what the name of the city was, or much of it. We could guess a lot of stuff, but really, we wouldn't know that much about it. Not really. We can make a lot of educated guesses, but that'd be it. All right. This Christopher McCoy actually wrote, there's a lot more than just an eyewitness of Pompeii. We actually found the city and the people and the geological evidence, so that might sway opinion. Also, if the Bible teaches people to seek out answers for themselves, why is it used against people who don't align with those beliefs? It's not supposed to be used for people who don't align with their beliefs. This goes against everything Christianity physically does currently in the world. And God didn't inspire humans to write a book. Humans just did it. How would he know? Was he there? No. And they did it for the same reason everyone ever had, because they wanted clarity when there was none. That's silly. It makes things a lot easier to deal with when you can write everything off on divine power. Well, it could, but that's not why the Bible was written in the first place. Religion is safety for the weak-minded. That's stupid. And at least that's what most American Christianity has become. Yeah, like he's been in every single church. The only truly good and godly people are the kind-hearted and most motivated atheists. That's a lie. Okay, and then Christopher McCloy goes on to say, and no, it doesn't make sense. In his religion, there are many well-documented historians who wrote about and recorded pretty much everything. And although the Christian religion is also well documented, Jesus is not. That's simply not true. I finally said, golly, you're missing the point. Sure, we know where Pompeii is, and the volcano protected much of the city from decay, but Pompeii didn't have neon signs to say the name of the city. No one knows the names of any of the people who lived there outside of Pliny the Elder. Actually, yeah, it was Pliny the Elder. We still have to guess what lifestyle the people of Pompeii lived. If it wasn't for Pliny the Elder, we would know so little about Pompeii. And the worst part is we wouldn't know the exact day the volcano erupted. And since when did any of the apostles persecute non-believers or taught any believer to persecute non-believers? That never happened. Anyone who wears a badge of Christianity and persecutes a non-believer is just simply a liar. and he will be persecuted on the judgment day for his egregious sin. Okay, so Christopher McCoy writes back to me. He says, you're right. There were not signs. There was just a lot of recorded history of the event. There was only one letter. That's it. So that's a lie. Unlike a man named Jesus who changed water to wine or fed thousands with a couple of fish. Jesus isn't well documented outside the Bible because most people who met him were either killed in 70 AD or their documented testimony was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. This affects Jerusalem. Get the idea? Then Christopher McCoy writes me back. He says, sorry, dude, but no, it doesn't exist because he didn't exist. That's not true. Every facet of Christianity got its narratives from other also successful religions. Of course, that's a lie, including the trope that the total lack of evidence is caused by non-believers. The evidence doesn't exist because it ever existed. That is an absolute lie. Then I wrote back and I said, I presume you're referring to Horace. If you are, your argument is out of gas. I bet you watched the Zeitgeist movie. Shall I take the time to debunk Horace? And he writes back, he says, I'm not referring to anything, and yes, I have watched Zeitgeist, but that isn't why I believe what I believe. It's just simple common knowledge. That's not true. I say, common knowledge, you say? I'm thinking more in the lines of common means and common misinformation, and I'm not alone in this thought process. I'm a student of James Patrick Holding. If you contact him, he may tell you some uncommon knowledge. Of course, I can give you the same information if you want me to. He said, the memes exist because it was readily available information. Poking fun at people who are willingly blind to actual scientific fact is kind of fun. And notice this. He doesn't even spell the word nor correctly. He spells it N-O-R-E. James could convince anything. You are not coming from a credible background. Okay. No, I don't have a PhD in Christianity, but James Patrick Holding, he has some credentials of his own. So I'm not relying on mine. I'm relying on his. Okay. There's a reason religious schools can't and won't ever be Ivy League is because the fundamental structure for learning is the ability to take in new information. If your ability to do so can be stopped by this doesn't fit what my religion says, you've lost your ability to learn and objectively use critical thinking. That's stupid. I wrote this to him. I said, this coming from a guy that can't effectively spell or grammar check. What is a willing blind? The word is nor, not nor, and you state that neither I nor James Patrick Holding come from a credible background. You haven't met either one of us until recently, and you still haven't met him, so how would you know what kind of background we come from? I seriously doubt you've ever attended a theological school. If you have, feel free to post your credentials. Then he starts this whine. I'm using my phone. Whine. My daughter is much more important than spelling. Then why do you come over here in the first place? And this conversation is only worth about 50% of my attention. Then why are you bothering in the first place? Also, you're not credible because you believe Jesus was the person that walked the earth. Your religion makes you not credible, and this James dude agrees with you. He's also not a credible source of information. Like I said, there is a reason religious schools are Ivy League. What stupidity. It just goes on and on and on. And I could just sit here all day and read this. What finally was the icing on the cake is I actually found a link that said, did Jesus exist? All scholars agree he certainly existed. And I explained about R. Joseph Hoffman and Bart Ehrman and how they contradicted a guy by the name of Richard Carrier. When I did that, the guy never wrote back. So I'm not looking for him to write back anyway, but I think I finally defeated the guy. But you could just tell this was just more stupidity and more stupidity. The more the conversation went on, it just dragged on and dragged on. It just became more and more stupid. So anyway, if you guys need that kind of information, you can contact me and I'll give you the information I have. Anyway, if you guys want to contact James Patrick Holding, go ahead and contact him too. I think I've done enough of a live stream for today. If you want more information about what I just talked about, let me know, and I'll share that conversation with you guys. You can read it all for yourself, or you can actually come. Well, I might post that on my fan page. I don't know. We'll see. Give me enough encouragement, I just might do it. Okay. Well, that is all there is for today, boys and girls. I will see you at the Blue Mound, Illinois Fall Festival Parade, Saturday, August the 6th. Come out. We'll have a good time. All right. And the video will be up sometime Saturday night. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you for watching this whole presentation. I know it took an awful long time. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.